Anyone know that? Also, I'm taking time on my phone to talk to everybody about it.
Do the exact same thing.
No, really. Whatever you get. One thing about hip hop, when it hits you, feel no pain, like Jose control your brain, and I'm ready for that. I know better than that. That's game, and we ready for that. Two soldiers, head of pack. Matter of fact, who got that? And where my army at? Rather attack and not react. Back beats it don't reflect on how many records get sold. I'll send drugs and rock and roll. Whether your records put on hold in the real world. These just people with ideas, just like me and you when smoking cameras disappear in the real world. The role of balance, vote for the team who best performatively, methodologically interrogates their relationship with whiteness. Against vote for the team who best performatively, methodologically interrogates their relationship with whiteness. You can refer to situations for three reasons. One, because performance comes first. A, I'm black for passing policy. Means that's distinction that's made before I even say a word within space. It's also a distinction I can't separate myself from. It expresses performance expresses our unconscious forms of discrimination. Because we always the way that we see the things that we say within the debate, but not the ways that we act, because we assume that's not going to be illegal. Two is that identity comes first. Whatever I say, whatever comes out of my mouth is always subjectively interpreted by the pre-prescribed narratives that toys upon my body. Meaning that that's why when I read hip hop, people automatically assume it's misogynist and capitalist, without actually giving a fuck to even listen to the actual lyrics. And please, I feel as illusory. So passing any policy within the space doesn't actually matter. The only thing that we have is what we say and how we function within the debate space. Next is that debate don't fuck with me. Not now, not ever. It's a place of pretend to be free while ignoring my identity, making me promises this will be real world one day. What keep you from saying the shit I actually want to say? They talk about debating good and why we should value that most. What's debating good for who? Why people like these votes? I know the answer is definitely not me for sure. So fuck the topic of bullshit promises you keep saying. Because at the end of the day, I either have to say what you want me to say or I have to go. But trust me, that's not happening. Neither the attempts to whitewash me. So here's my black voice loud and clear. My body's not yours for the taking. I'm taking back this killing field. First is my body in space. One, the position that we were asked to play as when passing the policies, one of perpetuating the genocide of the black body. The state controls the narrative of the black body, perpetuates violence against perpetuates violence against black and brown bodies. It steals our individual subjectivity in the way that we function as individuals, and places an overarching narrative that only perpetuates violence against people of color. This forces debaters to function under the state, forces them to ignore and reject our individual black and brown subjectivity, forces us to endorse the erasure of other black and brown body subjectivity, and assumes that one can ignore the ways that the state has perpetuated violence against the black and brown bodies, and prescribe violence upon those bodies. Two is that the liberals that embody the debate position themselves as one who is assumed to be anti-racist and assumed to be anti-structural violence. This ignores how structures are created through individual actions, and allows for each individual who positions themselves as anti-racist to give themselves free pass to do racist shit, and then just say that they're anti-racist and make themselves feel a little better. This leads to three things: A, false allyship, where they only the debaters pretend to advocate for people of color, but as soon as they win the ballot, as soon as they utilize the black and brown bodies to the point where it helps them, they stop giving a fuck about them. It also leads to black promises, where they talk about how they're going to help people of color. Then right after doing so, they just push them to the side because they only matter when it's beneficial to them. And B is that since they are seen as liberals and as anti-racist, they turn to a policing system that defines what oppression does and does not matter. At the point where even black bodies within this space have been functioning under this framework. At the point where there's a black body, black bodies even told me that my oppression within this space doesn't matter because niggas are dying outside. C is that the inability to see how whiteness permeates the debate space the same way that it did the plantation, and see the parallels between the physical death outside of this room and the social death I have to deal with every single round is a reason why you're going to be voting for this here. Partly there's a killing field for the black psyche, where y'all pretend to advocate for us until it doesn't benefit your perceived position within whiteness, and then you just push us to the side. This leads to the continuous murder of the black and brown body subjective experiences and engagement with the debate, and so much until the point that they're nothing but black flesh left within the system. Three is that the anti-black narrative that the state perpetuates is always perpetuated through partly a couple of examples. When I read hip hop, they automatically assume that it's a negative thing without even actually giving a fuck to listen to the actual lyrics. And next, debaters usually just run framework and try to blame people of color as to why poverty is dying, but without actually engaging with the argumentation that white debaters also, white people have always tried to blame black people for the problems that whiteness has created. This is seen as a perpetuation of the same tactics used in the 1960s to shut down the civil rights movement. If you want to know why Parley's dying, look at the damn mirror. Next is that when I have one of the most renowned coaches and judges telling me that I'm reading a performance because I'm not smart enough and have read enough of anti-blackness literature to read it in ways that they perceive it as effective. It's no question that there's racism within party. Next, the debate is key. Next, the debate is key. One, party debate is a debate that's prevalent in many rural universities surrounded by conservative values, which excludes any discussion around race. So I specifically have that discussion here. And two, is that it's key to me. You have to write down what I say. You have to stand up and respond to what I say. It doesn't happen outside of this room, so don't tell me to go to another forum. Next is that hip-hop is key. Nobody says it better than Killer Mike when he says that I've never really had a religious experience in a religious place. The closest I've ever had to seeing and feeling God is listening to rap music. Rap music is my religion. Amen. He then goes on to say that this is jazz, this is funk, this is soul, this is gospel, this is sanctified sex, this is player Pentecostal, this is church, front pew, amen, pulpit, the opposite of what my people need and the opposite of bullshit. That's where the advocacy statement comes in. Vote Ave to affirm my existence within this space. Vote Ave to affirm my existence within this space. Next, hip-hop solves. One, the voting Ave affirms the reclamation of my body from the social debt that is written upon me every single round. It allows me to redefine the way that I function within this space without having other people doing that for me. It also, voting Ave not only does that, but also endorses the counter narrative, the one they see to combat, to open up this space so that I can actually function and exist within this space outside of these dominant narratives. Two is that hip-hop is a survival strategy for people of color to exist outside of these dominant narratives. It redefines my narrative, redefines my narrative. It's one of the unique ways to do so because it's antagonistic nature, pushing aside anti-black narratives, and if anything, allows for a counter narrative to function outside of whiteness. And three is that hip hop is the voice of the hood. It allows for a call for unity, a rally cry to be able to combat white power structures, and be able to reclaim places like debate for more black and brown bodies. And four is the audible version of tissue forming organisms, like particles split and volatile. Be wary of me. The spawn of the sun and the earth be born on hollow ground. We messed around and opened up a goddamn portal spitting. They call me beastie because I'm preaching rappers on their turf. And Pop Revolts will quote me later, say I hardly spoke because I'm a quiet assassin with passion for fire. Blaze the trail and have the victim breathing in all of the smoke. This is revival of the fiber rap, Harlem City. Epitome of street survival rap, hard and gritty. Allah's math with the swag that they can't master. Cast from the plaster of Elohim. Yeah, God is with me.
We're going to take about 30 seconds. We'll start my time.
Okay.
Yeah. It will be one off. So, cool. So it's one off in case we're.
The counter framework is the first argument, is the interpretation that the affirmative must defend the resolution. The affirmative must defend the resolution. The violations, they literally say, fuck the resolution. This is going to be, not, the next argument here, we're not talking about how you have to be topical, or no, we're not talking about how you have to be fiat, or even like really like normative in the sense, but while the other argument that we're trying to make here is you have to fall in line with the resolution standards. So this is the first argument is going to be this. Praxis specifically for the other layer of this is that this is also going to be key to understanding the way that identities interact with real world policy options, the real world systems for a couple of reasons. The first reason, the second argument here is there's a couple versions here affirmative for a couple of ways. The first argument here is that this is actually really good. This would be a really good topic to try to interrogate the way that race is systemically erased from conversations about the environment for a couple of ways. The first way is you can look to hip hop artists like Blue Scholars, where they specifically talk about the environmental degradation in the Northwest, which is actually very much in line with the policy with resolution. Or additionally, you can talk about the way that forest fires disproportionately affect low-income communities on the outskirts of cities that are along national parks, where the air quality is inherently lower because of the constant forest fires. Probably means that the praxis, that your articulation could very well have fallen within the resolution, but you decided not to. Additionally, once again, this is not saying that you should role play as this is fiat. We recognize that fiat has problematic epistemes behind it, but what we're saying is that you must follow within the resolution. The third argument under this is I'll get you at the bottom of the count frame. The third argument under this is going to be that above ground the layer. This is that shifting ground and completely erasing the ground for the other term is the mechanism of whiteness that's perpetrated debate, specifically the way that white individuals have always, and white power structures have always inevitably stolen ground away from individuals, both in the literal sense for indigenous populations, but as well as the fact that they would shift the focus away from certain areas of treaties as mechanisms to steal ground away from indigenous populations, or even in the way in which they would actually create distractions to avoid fulfilling like contractual obligations that they would have to black individuals. You can look at this through a few mechanisms. The first way is the way that a lot of contracts in the inner cities would function, and microloans would also function in a way to make sure that security deposits were never returned to black and brown bodies that would actually be renting apartments from inner cities. But additionally, you can even see this in the way. I lost a second more. I'll take your question real quick.
Cool. So explain to me how talking about environmental impacts on people of color has anything to do with creating roads in the forest. How is that talking? Like how is there talking?
Roads in the forest are literally about like stopping forest fires. Those forest fires create smoke. Yeah, I mean, this was my app in high school. They're fire roads. They're for firefighters to stop wildfires.
Okay.
Those communities that are most proportionately affected by this are low-income communities around national forests. And hip-hop talks about it a lot, like the one about blue scholars.
The next argument is going to be that of the voters. The first argument, the first voter, this is going to be a priority. This functions as a disadvantage to your epistemic and methodological presuppositions in the round. But additionally, this is also in line with the fact that shifting ground completely away from any individual is also the way that whiteness is perpetrated both debate as well as other societies. But additionally, the next argument is going to be that of critical education in a way where the critical education is always going to be deeper in a world where you operate within the confines of a resolution, specifically in the way that identity and race is actually directly is in correlation with the resolution. But the next argument is that it would be fairness. In a world where you're shifting fairness away, this is also the way whiteness functions in debate as a mechanism to actually shift away. But additionally, let's get on the case. I have several arguments that are going to be general method disads, so they will kind of cross-apply across the whole case. The first method is that it's going to be that spectralization. I repeat spectralization a little later. This is that typically use the mechanism of whiteness to actually focus primarily on the performance of black and brown bodies as a mechanism to keep black and brown bodies underneath their thumbs. This happens in a few ways. The first way into this is the first one is going to be that of minstrels in a world that after the abolition of slavery, the way that ontology was set up by a lot of black individuals was to perform music as mechanisms to actually garner sort of like recognition within society. But additionally, couple things happen. The first thing is that black bodies were only evaluated by how well they could perform, but additionally, this was also inevitably co-opted by white bodies in a way where now this actually led to the rise of things like blackface, which means that these performative aspects only seem to re-entrench white civil society. Probably means that this is a functional case turn. But additionally, the next argument here, the next warrant under this is the way that founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson would only see their black slaves as mechanisms of entertainment. They look to the quotes about the way that he said that he would invite slaves into their house because they were dumb, but God, were they entertaining? This specialization means that the black ontology only becomes intertwined with how entertaining they can be. This can be seen throughout the music industry in a few ways. The first way is the way that punk was actually co-opted by white individuals, where punk was actually created by black brothers in Detroit. This was inevitably co-opted by white individuals because of how entertaining it was. This is also seen in hip-hop, where you see people like Eminem who claim to be the Elvis. I don't have time, I'm sorry. Claim to be the Elvis of hip-hop as mechanisms of whiteness. Perpetrating hip-hop probably means that your method relies on creates no sort of solvency. But additionally, you can even look at Elvis. There's another example of the way that music is inevitably co-opted by whiteness, and whiteness points to itself into your method.
Real quick, Tom. One last one is like also Killer Mike who partnered with Bernie Sanders. Like the movement was then painted as violent because of Killer Mike's song "Don't Die."
You can also look at the way that hip-hop is always painted as violent because of the way that it's actually framed, because people don't understand the way that metaphor functions within hip-hop. That means this. There's an epistemic question that you are not asking before you present your narrative. In a world where before you present your performance, that means that when white people hear hip-hop, you're white. They think violence. They think misogyny. There is an epistemic question that means that your solvency is never achieved, because when racists hear hip-hop, all they see is a violent black body. Probably means that there is no solvency. But the next argument here is that also functions as disadvantage your role of the ballot, and we would offer the counter role of the ballot. Vote for the team that does the best debating. I already vote for the team that does the best debating. The first argument, this is probably inevitable, because even if this comes down to a role of the ballot discussion, that inevitably means that whoever best debates the role of the ballot is inevitably going to win your ballot. But additionally, this allows for some conversations over the thesis of your app. And instead of just a role of ballot discussion, let's just allow for inevitability to the inevitability when it comes to the role of ballot discussion. But the next argument here is going to be ontological violence in a world where you provide an advocacy that is directly in line with your identity. That means that my only option as a white privileged debater, and this is also the way that I'm questioning my whiteness in the realm performatively. As a white privileged cis male debater, my only option is to attack his identity, something I refuse to do. I'm not going to impact turn his narrative. I'm not going to impact turn the way that the debate space has been evil to black and brown bodies. I recognize that I am inherently privileged and come from a position that puts me ahead of other individuals because of the color of my skin. That's fucked up. But the problem is that asking for a ballot to affirm your identity is a couple of things. First of all, it makes things like microaggressions and ontological violence even more inevitable. But secondarily, it once again ties black ontology to the amount of ballots that it gets. Probably means that it turns the entirety of the app.
Yeah.
So their framework overview.
And then our performance.
And then the dump was that I took the dump on. I floated the dump on that. So.
Okay, so I flew the dump in the order that it happened, but as soon as they got to roll the ballot, I set it next to roll the ballot.
Cool.
So.
Similar.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, is anyone not ready? Here's the racist reject framework versus the utilitarian framework. The justified through framework always justifies the rejection of alternative forms of expression, meaning this space will never be open to people who are marginalized, like people of color, which we solve for. And the criticism second, they are trying to justify framework through the guys that, like we're going to cause a bad thing to happen in debate, the debate's been collapsed, whatever. It's literally just whiteness because it displaces blame. In the first place, they aren't interrogating white structure that actually exists, but rather interrogating NR for choosing not to fit within that white framework. Also, three is that their performance of whiteness legitimizes both A, conditional ethics that legitimize the exclusion of people of color, and B, the exclusion of the narrative and expression of people of color. Fourth is that framework was created by white people who didn't like the Louisville Project, which was the project that brought performance to policy debate, and they literally invented framework to police people of color out of space because they were tired of losing their arguments that were just true about discrimination. Fifth is that if debates like dying because it is blackening, that would prove that part of the debate would be intrinsically racist, and if we combat it, then that would make it cease to exist. So, if that's the case, then just let it fucking collapse. Our role about is framework. Our role about is interpretation because if we are just defending the resolution, that means we can't necessarily interrogate our relationship to whiteness because that would force people to defend things like the United States federal government or whoever the actor is, right? That is inherently going to be structurally anti-black, and that is something that is bad. Yeah.
We should use the role of God as an interpreter because it allows us to interrogate the one structure that permeates everything.
Yeah, use our role of ballot is the way to bring around because it's the only thing that allows us to what?
Allows us to interrogate a structure that permeates everything.
To interrogate a structure that permeates everything. So, specifically on their interpretation, the dissat is going to be that it causes people of color to identify with their pastors. It also causes people to endorse actors that have done bad things, to oppress them and people who are like them and who have been marginalized. So that is violent because it makes them endorse things like state erasure of themselves and people like them. They say this is that they can't understand the real world, but their real world doesn't exist for people of color because people of color are systematically pushed out. And the real world they talk about is drenched in whiteness, and people of color won't have access to it unless we have a rupture in this room to allow Uber to have that access. That is what his performance is actually doing. They say that a topical version of the affirmative exists because race is erased from the discussion of the environment. But their answer to this first is that access to the space is a prior question, and people of color can't have access to this space, and it is inevitable that we will continue to footnote their violence, which is why we have to allow access to happen first, which is what Edward is doing through his performance. Also, second is that people will always say that extinction outweighs if we read some sort of topical affirmative unless we tie it to an extinction level impact. No one gives a fuck about systemic violence. That is why we have to read it this way, because if we read it as a topical affirmative where we're defending the resolution, people will always just outweigh with violence because they say that util is true, but fuck that. Also, there's no topical version because this is specific to the debate space, right? We're not just talking about force. We're talking about inverse identity as it exists within the debate space. Yeah.
Oh, and when they said it's key to understanding identity, I don't need to pass a policy to understand how I function under those policies.
Yeah, it's not key to understanding identity because Inver doesn't have to pass a policy in order to understand how he functions under that. Also, on ground shift, first warn is that we haven't shifted ground. Don't vote on possible abuse. There's no proven abuse within the debate space. We are definitely still defending it. Inver should be affirmed within this round. We will continue to do so for the rest of the fucking tournament. And also, their ground isn't accessible to people of color. If anything, we are shifted back to people of color to allow them access into the space and allow them to actually be heard in the space. They say voters is not a priority, but access has to come first. That's the first thing before we can have literally any discussion. People have to have access to the space. If we continue to systematically deny people of color access to the space, then that means that they will never have their voices heard. We will continue to systematically oppress them, right? Because when we never hear their narratives and we assume that everything's fine.
Ground is always being shifted away from people of color in this space.
Ground is always being shifted away from people of color within the space. It's a prerequisite to solve that from happening. That is what inverse performance is actually doing on education. We say that their education is necessarily bad because it is drenched in whiteness and because it doesn't even make an attempt to include people of color within the space that are being excluded from the conversations. Also, if their education is only accessible to white people, then that is necessarily bad because we are going to continue to co-opt that education, make it continue to push out people of color, which is why I question access necessarily first. And they say fairness, but their fairness is white fairness. People of color don't have access to the same form of fairness that they literally made up to push policy debaters who performers outside of the activity. Your question?
When did we ever make any claims that you had to fiat something or that you had to?
Okay, you don't have to tell us that we have to utilize fiat to make people of color identify as their oppressors, right? Because if they have to,
for me to be able to pass a policy,
if they have to defend the resolution, they have to defend the actors in the resolution. Those are the oppressors. That's what we're saying is bad. Okay. So, overview of immerse performance. The fact that they didn't answer any lyrics from PNC's another link is how they're showing resistance to this form of expression and being their own willingness to see these verses is valid. So, I'm going to make a few extensions. First, to send dead present hip hop, how he says that first white people's interpretation seek to devalue and deconstruct the power that hip hop has for communities of color. Second, how racism is always going to exist, so we have to be proactive, not reactive, in order to allow people of color access to the space. Also, third, that hip hop being framed as bad because of sex and drugs ignores the individual last subjects and their voices. Extend Inverse framework rap where he says that first that his own voice isn't allowed access to the space. Second, how their real world information is a real world for him. And third, how framework is a tool literally used to keep people of color in check so that they continue to fit within the white system that whiteness has created. Extend Killer Ike and RIP, which says that first that hip hop expresses the power and connection that hip hop has for the communities of color. Second, that it portrays hip hop as a means to combat the dominant narrative. And extend craft music, which is the war for performance. And Rock, who says that hip hop can be used to reclaim subjectivity and it is a survival strategy. Go to the performance proper. Yeah. On the roll of the ballot, they say that you should vote for the best debater, but the best debater is always necessarily the whitest debater because the way that the parliamentary debate community has been structured, they say that we should that our roll of ballot doesn't allow it's self-serving, it doesn't allow for conversations, but we say that it is necessary for people of color to have access to debate in the first place. They say that they are white cis males and their only option would be to attack inverse identity. That's absolutely not true. You can say one other method would be beneficial, or say something else. Like there are decides you can reach the method. There are different arguments you can read against the advocacy. That isn't necessarily that you have to attack inverse identity. On their spectralization thing about how we're focusing on performance. Okay, we say that people co-opt lyrics because they didn't listen. That is literally performance of whiteness that you do within the space because you're not responding to the lyrics. You say that people decide what good or bad music is, but that's because you're not actually paying attention to what the lyrics are. If that is true, then that means that you have been an independent link to the criticism of why we should not allow that to happen, yeah?
Their only link to this DA is performance without any analysis of that performance or action with that performance. We don't link because we don't just perform. We interrogate the way
we don't link because we don't just perform, we also interrogate the way in which our performance functions under the scope of whiteness. They say things about Jefferson, how punk was co-opted, groupies, but we shouldn't just roll over and give up, right? Because something has been co-opted in the past, that means that he should just be listen, that's not okay. Also, we only have to defend our use of the method. In this round, Inward's use of the method is not going to be co-opted. They say Killer Mike is always, and things have always been painted by violence. That is exactly what we are fixing. And they say that we act for the battle, and that's bad. We say that Inward has already had his identity. We just want it in the debate space too.
The order is going to be the procedural, and then
Did you get pop?
So procedural and then spectralization, or just straight down the same order that you went.
yeah, straight down.
So spectralization and all the stuff on top.
Mm-hmm. Are we all ready? Your first argument is that we are utilitarian. However, our whole arguments are about how we must provide more access to the debate space, and that performance is limited because it removes the discussion from the topic, which means that you are the only ones that are risk of being utilitarian. You say that we do not allow alternative forms of expression. However, our whole argument is about how alternative forms of expression can exist in a world where you defend the resolution. For instance, you can defend it ironically, you can defend it with fiction, you can defend it through a reading of the hip hop argument that you read. For instance, their counter-inter is vote for the team who best, like the roll out, vote for the team who best performatively and methodologically interrogates the relationship to whiteness. This is not competitive, our roll about. You can do that and defend the resolution. It can happen together. For instance, you can look to our argument about ironically defending it, or defending it through a lens of interrogating the whiteness behind the United States federal government. Probably a reason why we can perm your inter and why it's not competitive to ours. But the next argument is that you say that we try to justify the procedural through our impact of having to collapse the debate. However, that's not our impact. Our impact is lack of access. You can look to our first voter, which is shifting ground, which we said replicates the very whiteness that you are critiquing, and fairness, which also replicates the whiteness, which is where where the locus of power is shifted. Probably a reason why we aren't going for the collapse of debate impact. We're going for the lack of access, which is the exact same thing you're arguing on the procedural. Can I give you one of the standards? But the next argument is that you say that we force them to join in whiteness via the intern. However, we'd argue that since the roll about is not competitive with the intern, that isn't true, right? Unless our intern said you cannot interrogate the relationship to whiteness, probably a reason why we do not force that immersion to happen. But the next argument is that you see the project that invented framework was a bunch of white debaters backlashing. You'd argue that this counter-framework is much different since one, it's not arguing for the collapse of debate, it's arguing the lack of access, probably a reason why it's a shift from that original project. But the next argument is that you say that debate is dying intrinsically, so that's a fine, let it die. And we'd argue that that goes against your whole argument of providing access in this space, and two, yeah, you also say that debate is key in your act. Probably a reason why you don't want debate to die, which means that you would argue for the procedural. That's an argument for us. Okay, your question?
Cool. So what's the impact of lack of access? If people can't access the debate space, what happens to the debate space?
The impact.
The argument is that when you shift ground away from the resolution, that
allows
whiteness to be perpetrated.
Yeah, the impact is the impact you're talking about, right? The replication of whiteness. It's internal in terms of the act. But the next argument is you put is your DA. So you say that it causes people to identify as their oppressors because in order to defend the reds, you have to identify as the oppressor. We argue this is one, not true, since you can't do that through an ironic framing of your advocacy. But the second argument is that you can interrogate the actors while still defending the topic of constructing roads in forest cars. Probably a reason why this isn't true. But the next argument is you say we argue real world, but real world does not exist for people of color, and how this rupture causes access. So we're arguing this rupture is what denies access because you shift the ground to only one locus, meaning that there is now only one way to argue, and that causes the other team to lose access. And we argue that lack of access is what you were talking about. Look, if the real world doesn't exist, then you're limiting it down to this debate space. We're arguing this debate space is most affected by the performance that skews out the other team. But the next argument I wanted to address is you say the access to prior question. That's fine. We're arguing about the access. That's why this procedural becomes a prior question, because both of our voters are about lack of access. The first one is shifting ground, the second one is fairness. But the next argument is you say that people will will always say extinction outweighs, and that's why there could be no topical fiated version. We'd argue this isn't true, since you can argue systemic impacts are bigger on a magnitudinal scale, and you can also argue that there's much more probability for systemic impacts to happen, meaning that you can always win the impact game because nuke war is most often not bought anymore because people just say that's not probable, it's never happened. All the warrants work against you. You had 1,000 different scenarios where nuclear war could happen, but it's never happened. Probably the reason why you can always get around that debate. But the next argument is you argue that that there is no topical version because we need to do the specific performance. We argue that specific performance can happen in a world where you still defend the resolution, meaning this again is not competitive. But the last argument is you say that we can't pass policy because that advocates the violence that you're trying to solve for. We argue that we aren't saying you have to pass policy. We're saying you have to defend the resolution. You can still do that through an ironic or sarcastic framework, meaning that like a lot of hip hop is uses ironic or sarcastic language, meaning that can happen in a world of the app. But the next argument is that you're saying we don't vote on a potential abuse or possible abuse. We argue that potential or possible abuse is what your entire app is about, right? The possibility of denying access, meaning that that would go against your very own argumentation, meaning that you shouldn't be preferring that. You should be preferring potential lack of access or lack of access happening in this room right now, meaning that you're always preferring those impacts. But the next argument is,
Argument's not an abuse framework.
I mean, it's not, but yeah, I mean, we're not going for potential abuse, but it was just a response to that. Yeah. But the next argument is that you say, the next argument you say access comes first. Again, we're saying that's fine. That's what the procedural is about. You say ground is constantly being shifted away. Our argument is that the shifting of ground is happening via the assets. We're going away from the topic and away from preventing the resolution. And you say that debate then becomes only accessible to white people. We're saying that the whiteness power structure is created in a world where the locus of ground is shifted without the other team knowing, which means that there's basically a pre-round impact where lack of access happens. Go to the standards now. Can I just address standards first? Okay, so the first standard is praxis, which means it's key for understanding. Like if it flows across, there's no direct line-by-line analysis against our standard. So flow across the first standard. The second standard, I want you to flow across that there is a topical app. Flow across the warrant for blue scholars that there's literally a hip-hop group about specifically the environment, meaning that this app can happen in a world that is contextual with resolution. I like to also flow across how forest fires disproportionately affect people of color and lower income communities. Probably a reason why that is another reason why there could be a topical app. We'd also like to flow across how this the app shaped in this way would allow a discussion of epistemes that are otherwise not included because we're not talking about environmental racism. Meaning that because the ground is shifted away, that also creates a lack of access. The last standard I want you to flow across is ground. Caleb gives some really good warrants here about how this shifting the ground away is a mechanism of whiteness. So flow across the warrants, one, about the indigenous populations, and two, about how white lawyers would use mechanisms to shift power away, and how the third analysis of how white renters would use contracts and security deposits to shift power away from people of color. Yeah.
Using the argument that we don't focus on the way that whiteness perpetrates society outside of the round because we are inside this round is whiteness.
Yeah, using the argument that we don't perpetuate whiteness in society. Wait, one more time.
The argument that we need to focus here and not the way
because we need to focus here and not the world, not focus on the praxis, because praxis is doomed, is an argument of whiteness because it shapes the world where now is key and that the shifting has to happen, which is exactly what has been happening in these communities and these examples Caleb gives. So lastly, at the end of the day, you're voting on the procedural because the impact is a lack of access. That's the whole impact that the negative team is going for. That this shifting of ground is what creates a lack of access. You can see this through the warrants that have been conceded in the debate.
The LOR is mostly going to be an overview, but you can just throw it on the framework sheet, the counter framework sheet. So are you ready? This round is going to go to point Loma MR for a few reasons. The first of which is the fact that most of the argumentation that's coming out of the MG is not competitive with the actual interpretation that we're bringing up on the counter framework, specifically in a few ways. The first way in which this is true is their own counter interpretation, as Tom wonderfully points out, is not competitive, where it is very easy to interrogate performatively the way in which you orient yourself to whiteness through a topical affirmative. When additionally, most of their responses are dealing with the fact that we're saying that debate is going to collapse, or that you have to role play as the oppressor, or fiat something, or pass a policy, when literally the interpretation necessitates none of those things. Literally all of the warrants in the standard debate is the way in which hip-hop and performance has been used to formulate conversations about environmental policy, and the way that racism and issues of race are left out of environmental policy probably means that we never necessitate or even ask you to fiat anything. I made that abundantly clear from the LOC, Tom.
Yeah, okay, it doesn't even say you have to pass an advocacy.
You don't even have to pass an advocacy. Literally,
The interp is the app must defend the resolution.
Yeah.
Cool. So why, if the resolution is a policy being passed, why, how?
I think this is a new
Yeah,
description
we-
of the argument previously made.
literally in the LOC, I said, I don't care that you don't fiat something. I don't care that you're performative. All of the warrants that I've extended are from the LOC. This is not a new extrapolation. This is not anything. I said multiple times that I'm not saying you have to fiat a policy. Just defend the resolution.
So I have your interpretation as saying you must defend the resolution, but then I also do have you not in the interpretation, but sort of under as an afterthought, making this point about not having to fiat. So I think that's something you all can resolve.
Okay.
Alright, are we ready to start again? In a world where their counter-interpretation, as well as any of their argumentation, are not competitive with the interpretation which we brought up, that means in a world of competing interpretation, which is the framework that they placed on this round, means you have almost no out but to vote for the negative. Next, the next reason you'll be voting for the negative in this debate round is that because this is a functional internal link turn to the affirmative. In a world where the MG only dumps generic turns on counter framework without interacting with the interpretation that we've actually provided, means that you've also conceded a litany of analysis of the way the whiteness has perpetrated the method in which the advocacy is used. Probably means that this is an internal link turn to the entirety of your AF. But additionally, those are the arguments about the way that ground shifting inevitably is the mechanism of whiteness, but secondarily the way that the argument that Tom specifically brings up at the very during his speech about the way that what was the argument that I gave you? Oh, about the way that you prioritize a proximal space and ignore the way the issues of race function on a global scale is also all mechanisms of whiteness, which means that your method inevitably re-entrenches itself in the same structures in which you were trying to criticize, meaning that not only do you not solve anything, but your own method functions as the internal link turn to your AF, meaning that when you don't defend the resolution in any mechanism or any way, shape, or form, that ground shift only recreates whiteness and only recreates this lack of access that you were criticizing. The third reason that you will be voting for Point Loma is because the sheet of paper that which I am talking now is a priority. This functions several ways. The first way is from Jump Street, this sheet of paper is labeled as a priority, but additionally in a world where it functions as internal link turns to your methods and disadds to your method, means that this sheet of paper needs to be evaluated before the method in which it's being which you're discussing. Probably means that this counter framework means that you'll never be able to come up in the PMR and win. A little bit of impact calculus. We are winning on proximity in issues where Tom is specifically bringing up in the MO the way that the biggest access that was lost in this debate round was right here in a world where you have shifted ground completely away from the resolution and rendered anything that Tom and I had prepped or prepared completely moot. Means that the access in this debate round has always been lost, meaning the most proximal impact is here, meaning that your own method has become re-entrenched in whiteness, but additionally, in a world where it is internal link turn to your AF, means that any impact calculus that you're doing only seems to flow negative in a world where you have conceded analysis, where your method is internal link turned and is drenched in the same whiteness in which you were trying to criticize.
We do an overview, and then it's gonna be like an overarching voters debate, and then but I'll just go for it. Is everyone ready?
The
MCs that are going to be winning this round are the ones from UTT for a few main reasons. One, because through the framework of the LOC, black folk can only exist ironically. That's the only option that they gave you for me to be able to pass a policy under the resolution. No topical version of the act, because the judges still buy war nuke impacts. It's not responsive to say that you can defend structural violence. I can defend anything I want, but at the point where it doesn't matter in the eyes of the judges, it doesn't matter in the eyes of the debate, the violence that happens within policy actions of people of color doesn't matter, which means that I don't have access to that topical version of the act. But then, I must have credible access to the space before I can talk about anything else. I'll go on to that more, but we are specific critique of the debate space. They did not give you a topical act that does that. We critique the way that I function in debate, not the way that I function in the resolution. They don't answer any of that offense. Two is that we don't defend spillover because it's bullshit and passive. All we can do is change what happens what happens outside of what happens inside of Cornerstone 308. Three is that our answer is competitive.
Pretending that we can do anything outside of this round is a strategy of whiteness to footnote oppression.
Exactly. Pretending we can do anything outside of this round is a tactic of whiteness to footnote oppression. Three is that our answer is competitive because defending the resolution forces us to engage in whiteness, defend the oppressor regardless of our field. We still have to defend the actions that the UFFT takes, even if we don't pass that policy. Meaning that they still link into all of the offense of the top part of the PMC. I'll go on to more of that later.
Our interp is like mutually exclusive.
Yeah, our answer is mutually exclusive. I'll explain more later. Or that they can see the DA's answer that defending the resolution leads to violence and forces people of color to endorse the erasure of black bodies by the actions of the resolution. Let's go on first on the roll of ballot in the act. They do not answer any of the reasons to prefer. That's going to be a specific D and disadd to the insert because of the fact that identity comes first, meaning that whatever comes out of my mouth is always framed by the subjective interpretation of the narratives that are always prescribed onto my body, meaning that the fact that the state controls the narrative of my body, perpetuates violence in my body, and perpetuates violence upon my body, means that narrative is always going to be one that's perpetuated through the defending of the resolution. At the point where I can't exist outside of the narrative and I function under the UFFG means that I can never access any of these. I can never have access to this space under the USFG resolution, and they agree that access comes first. At the point where there's no way for me to exist under the USFG and passing that policy within the debate space, because through the example that I gave of when I did read it topically, people still didn't give a fuck about what I had to say or the ways that I said it. They just heard black people music and assumed that they were misogynistic and capitalistic. All those arguments are still applied in the quote-unquote topical version of the act, meaning that you're always going to be voting off of my ability to be able to access this space outside of the narratives that are prescribed on me. You're going to be voting off of the fact that by using the method of hip hop in a way of rejecting the space to open up at least Cornerstone 308, so I can access the debate space and exist outside of the narrative that's perpetuated on me, means that you're always going to be voting off of the affirmative. Let's go line by line. They say that we must provide more access. Okay, they misinterpret we should just let the debate collapse. If debate is collapsing because of the blackening of debate, that means that debate was intrinsically anti-black in the first place. Meaning you're going to be voting off of the fact that the affirmative is necessary for combating anti-black violence within the debate space. They don't answer any of those arguments. Secondly, they argue that the UTT framework means that most people have to have access. The most people that have access in the SWO is white people. That's why there's like five people of color debating at this tournament. So don't tell me that access comes first, and that people of color still have that access. No, tell me like even more than one team that has two people of color. That does not exist within party. This is the specific reason why you're going to be voting for the PMC. Next, they said that the role of ballot is a computer insert. The role of ballot is a competing insert because if we have to defend the resolution, we have to function under whiteness, and we can't interrogate the relationship between how we function under whiteness while we're using whiteness, or while we're utilizing whiteness, meaning that discussion never happens. They didn't extend any of the case arts. Don't evaluate any of the case arts. They weren't answered to after the LOC.
We're the only attempt to interrogate whiteness. They don't even try. So
yeah, we're the only attempt to interrogate whiteness. They lose on the role of ballot because they don't answer any of the reasons to prefer. Now they say that prioritizing max proximal spaces is a tool of whiteness. Using a tactic that whiteness used to combat whiteness doesn't make that tactic whiteness. That's just smart. It's an ability to be able to pave a way for me to be able to access a space that whiteness otherwise wouldn't have allowed me to access. They don't answer any of the access questions. They agree that access comes first. They just don't give a fuck about whose access comes first. I argue that the people of color need access to the base because in the the status quo, they don't have that. I don't have that. And for working under the USFG, I don't get that. So at that point, you're always going to be voting off of the affirmative.
So, first of all, congratulations. This is a really good round. I think that this round comes down. I'll start with where this round comes down to, and then I'll start with areas where I think the round is It seems to me that this round comes down to this question of access, right? And who sort of produces more access. And I think I'm pretty persuaded by the arguments, first of all, that you all could never meet their interpretation because your interpretation relies on them having to access the resolution, or having to defend a resolution that would force them into a precarious position, right? And as a result, they would never be able to create a space in which they could provide the kind of access or the kind of conversations that they want to have, which they're saying is a prior question, right? So I see the PMC, I see the affirmative sort of position as being a question that actually comes before the procedural debate, because it's asking questions about what bodies are allowed to occupy physical space in the debate room, right? You're asking a question about how those bodies are allowed to perform. And I think that you're not really grappling with that, and I think that's partially because you misunderstand the way that they frame the question of access. Because you think of access in the terms of fairness. And they say literally from the PMC, and definitely in the MG, that fairness is this sort of institutional tool of whiteness. Right? I'm sympathetic to your argument that in your world or in your framework, there's the potential that they could also be fighting whiteness. But at that point, I also have a mechanism, right, for getting out of that, which is their interpretation, right, and their and the framework that they defend, which is that there's at least a risk that in the world where we do these kinds of hip-hop performances, even in the debate space, there's a potential to improve the kinds of access that people are allowed to have in the debate round. Where I don't know where this gets settled, and this is where I feel like my decision is sort of uneasy, is you all don't, I think, sit enough on this point about the inside and outside of the debate. I think that that's where you have the most of an out, right? Because your point is, if we just focus on how Imran is allowed to access or think about the debate round, he's already here, right? And I know that seems silly, but essentially, he's already in the debate round and already present within the debate round, talking in the debate. And that not talking about the broader structure is problematic. I think that you all kind of dance around this issue and make it a second consideration, but aren't really going for the line by line on why, the way that they framed it is problematic, but more importantly, why the ways in which they have chosen to engage the debate in the manner in which they've engaged also replicate the system of whiteness, which means they're also impossibly sort of foreclosing the question of access. This was a really tough decision for me to make, because I actually think, I'm really sympathetic to the claims that you're making. I don't understand how to evaluate someone else's identity, but I also don't know that framework is necessarily the best place to go in this debate. I think that in these debates where you know that people are going to be reading arguments like hip-hop, the response is either to out hip-hop them, right, or to critique hip-hop, which is what I think you do. What I would say is maybe not critique hip-hop in the way that you chose to critique it, right? And it's good that you sort of back away from those arguments, because I think those arguments could get you into a lot of trouble, especially the points about minstrelsy, right? Because those aren't actual indictments of hip-hop, those are indictments of white people, and how white people consume hip-hop. And I don't know that those are necessarily responsive. Also, I would caution you that, in other debates, right, using the N-word could be triggering. And you use it, and you all don't catch it. And for me, that was something where I was like, whoa.
Should I? Because the thing, I kind of view the N-word as, liberating at this point.
Right, but there are also interesting politics around, how people are allowed to access. Yeah. And there are very good debates right now about how people are allowed to access and defend that word, and the ways in which that word is triggered. Also, I think, I had another point, and I can't remember what I was going to say, so go ahead, ask your question.
It's kind of at the end, but basically, what did you feel like was missing from the PMC that needed to be there? What did you think?
I don't know why you all locate this just as a question of the debate space. Or just in this round, in this moment.
Okay. So you think we should be defending spillover claims?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what you lose by defending spillover claims.
Okay.
In fact, if anything, I think it helps your argument, because then that gives you the grounds to say, right, we either it's true, and you all do mishandle this argument, right, about destroying debate. Their argument is essentially and I take that, it's essentially a solvency claim. You don't call it one, but it's at least in the affirmative. right? They destroy fairness. It proves that like debate is white and they've interrogated that whiteness so much so that people are uncomfortable with it, which is the point. Do y'all have questions for me? I understand like you're probably not jazzed, but
No, that was a good. No, you explained it really well. Yeah.
so also full disclosure, I debated in like 2010. This was my last year of part of the debate, and so probably has changed a lot. And so now I'm sort of encountering like questions that I never thought about, like what does it mean to affirm your identity, right? Like so this is also precarious positions for judges to be in as well. So I thought about the decision. I really wanted to vote. I really wanted to find a way out. I think because I wasn't comfortable necessarily, but I don't think that there was enough. I also don't know that again, framework is the place to go in these debates.
Yeah, maybe there's more in the PMC.
And I also think too, and this is something I noticed, is when they're reading hip hop, you need to be flowing. I don't know that you all were flowing the entire the hip hop portions because I looked at because at first I was confused as to whether or not I should be flowing. And I was like, no, I should be flowing because those things are all spikes, right? That those all end up becoming your blocks, which I agree with them that I think you also should get off the blocks of it and be more interactive with the theoretical debate because there are a lot of excellent arguments in here. You do handle most of them. There are quite a few that I think could be handled better. Yeah.
Thank you. You want that?
Thanks, Kelsey.
Let's do it. I like how it cuts. Thanks.
Good luck. Thank you for the feedback.
Also, see you last minute together.
Okay. So the words. Imagine socks. Yeah. I also really like your style, by the way. I'm trying to figure out how to wear scarves. Really, really weird. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
I'm not forget my jacket.
What's cracking, Jimbo? What's popping? You say cracking?
Popping.
It's popping, dude.
I said it because Enver
Get your
said it.
knees right. It was kind of stinking a little bit.
I love it.
So,
So fun.
I had my first comment from a random stranger today.
What did you say?
Nice tattoo. And I was like, thank you.
Who said that?